Hey everybody, how's it going? This is the Scrapper Tap podcast, and I'm Jared Cole. Today I'm going to be giving my predictions and my breakdown for UFC Fight Night 172, Kattar versus Ige. That's going to be a fun main event. But first, I'm going to do a quick recap over this past weekend's fights. UFC 251. Usman versus Masvidal. Man, all in all, it was a fun card for me. I enjoyed watching it, especially once it got to the main card. So there was 13 fights total, and I went 9 for 13. There was two fights that were really close, and I saw. I thought they got it wrong. I thought on Volkanovski versus Holloway, I took Holloway. I honestly think he edged it out 3 rounds to 2. He dropped Volkanovski in the first 2 rounds. Oh man, that was just a tough one. Honestly think Holloway won that one, and I feel bad for him, man, because he's not going to get to probably run it back for a while. He's going to have to win a fight or two to get back to the title shot, and that's a bummer, man. That's just it's really a bummer for Holloway, but it is what it is. That's what he likes to say. So yeah, I went 9 for 13. There was two that I thought were wrong. The other one was let's see. It was Dos Santos. I thought Dos Santos won. I think he beat Salikov. It was a close fight. It is what it is. If that would have went my way, I would have went 11 for 13, which is crazy good. But 9 for 13 on this type of card is not bad at all. It was a pay-per-view, so there's a lot of close matchups, and I did pretty good. So just one fight that stuck out a lot off the prelims was Jerry Prodzaka versus Ozdemir, and Yuri got it done. He knocked out Ozdemir, man. It looked good. I was wrong on that one, but I liked what I saw from Yuri, and man, we got a contender in the heavyweight division, so that was an awesome fight. And for the main card, besides Holloway, I went perfect on it. Like I said, I thought Holloway won, so technically I went perfect. We had Ribas beating Van Zant, an armbar. It was beautiful. Nicely done. That might be the last time we see Paige in the UFC, but Ribas is a contender. Be on the lookout for her. I think she's going to have a big year or two. I can see her making her title run very soon. We had Nama Nunez beating Andrade, and I had that correct as well. Peter Yan taking out Aldo. I saw that coming. Aldo actually put up a pretty good fight. In the beginning, he was looking good, looked strong, and then Jan took over, which I predicted to happen. And then I had Holloway taking out Volkanovski, which I was wrong. The only one I was wrong on for the main card. And the main event, we had Usman versus Masvidal. I took Usman. He actually won me some money this weekend, so I was happy about that. I made 3 bets with some friends. Yeah, man, and I knew a lot of people were going to go with their hearts with Masvidal, and I like Masvidal a lot. I enjoy watching him. The next time he fights, guaranteed I'm buying that pay-per-view if that's what it is. And man, Usman just did his thing. A lot of people are saying it's boring, but man, I saw that coming. I wouldn't have been surprised if there was like a TKO by Usman if he came out swinging, but he did the smart thing. He did what you have to do. When you put money on someone, that's what you like to see, so I wasn't mad at it. He had a smart fight, in my opinion, so good job to Usman. I did put another bet in also with Holloway, just a small one, and I almost won that one. But I did good all in all. I won some money and had a pretty good fight card, and I was right on the main event, so I'm happy about that. So now we're getting into UFC Fight Night 172, Kattar versus Ige. This is a Wednesday night card. It is not going to be what we saw this weekend. There's some good fights, but it's really just the main event and a couple other ones off the main card. So I'm doing things a little bit different for this breakdown. Usually I just have my notes out. I make notes over how I think some of the fights are going to go, and basically the rest is off of memory, who they fought last and whatnot. But this time I bust out my computer. It might help me out a little bit more. I've been wanting to do this for a while, but yeah, man, so it might make the predictions, this video, a little bit longer, but I'm going to try to keep it quick, especially for the prelims. So we're going to start it off, man. In the prelims, the first fight of the night, we got George or Jorge Gonzalez versus Kenneth Berg. I think it's just pronounced Berg. So the odds, I could not find the odds on this fight, but I think it's going to be close to a pick 'em. You got George with the experience, 16-4 against Berg, making his debut. Berg is 31. George is a little bit older at 36. They're both 205, 6'2" with a 76-inch reach, so it's going to be close. Berg, I watched a couple of his fights. He is making his debut, but I watched him in a previous organization, and man, he's big. He's a big dude. He looks good. He's going to come in there swinging. I have no doubt about that. And as for Gonzalez, I like the experience on him, and I can see him going down in a DraftKings card, maybe for me, something like that. But I'm gonna make this one quick. I'm going with Berg. He's 8-0, making his debut, but he looks good, man. The fight I did watch from another organization, he looked good. He looked big, and I can see it going down as a KO or TKO. So I'm gonna start it off with taking Kenneth Berg. All right, next we have another one I'm gonna make pretty quick. We got Jack Shore. 12-0, coming in as the -600 favorite versus Aaron Phillips, the +425. I'm going to make this quick, man. I like Jack Shore a lot. Phillips, I haven't seen, his record isn't actually that bad, but I just don't see too much on him. I did a little more research, and I'm sticking with what I like, man. Jack Shore, 25-year-old, versus the 30-year-old in Phillips. So, the age I don't think is going to be too much a difference, but Jack Shore, man, he submitted Hernandez in his last fight, and he looked good. I like him to get it done again, probably by submission, so I'm going to go with Jack Shore to take out Phillips by submission. After that, the next one we got Diana Bebita versus the -165 favorite versus Liana Jojua, the +135. So on this one, man, we got two ladies with not the best record, or at least for the UFC. Their records aren't bad. It's 13-5 and 7-3. But in the UFC, they both did not look so good in their debut. They had a lot of weaknesses. Just right away, man, I'm gonna go with Diana Belbita, maybe is what it is. Diana Belbita, the Warrior Princess. I'm going with her. She made her debut against Molly McCann and actually went to decision. So Molly McCann's a super tough fighter. She's actually on this card. And for Deanna to go to decision, that's pretty good compared to Liana. When she made her debut, she did not look so good, especially against someone that's not that great of an opponent, in my opinion. She actually has a losing record. Sarah Moras, which is 6-7, knocked out Liana. So I'm going to make this one easy. Come on, man. We're going with Diana Bebita. You have to. I know styles make fights, so you can't just go off of their past record. But for this one, man, in my opinion, I'm taking Belbita to get the win. And I'm going to go by decision. I think she's going to, this one's going to most likely go the distance. All right, so the next one, we got a pretty fun one, man. I think this is going to be one of the better card. Not the better, because there's two fights from now. There's a really good one, but one of the better cards on the fights on the prelims. We got Jared Gordon, the -145 favorite, versus Chris Fishgold, the +115. It's close to pick 'em, and that's what I really think it should be. Their records are pretty solid. Fishgold's 18-3, but with the UFC, I believe. Let me check this out. Yeah, so he lost to Amir Khani, which just fought and looked really good this last Saturday, and he beat Daniel Tamor at the second round submission. And the Tamor brothers, they're solid fighters, man. That's not a bad win. So he made a good debut. Didn't look so good his second fight, but against a good opponent. And I honestly think it's a slight step down going against Jared Gordon. Now, I'm not saying Jared Gordon does not have what it takes to. I'm not saying he doesn't have what it takes to get it done. He's been in the UFC since 2017, and he fought some great competition. So if you're looking at the record, you would lean towards Jared Gordon. He's fought Charles Oliveira, Dan Moret, and this was all in 2019. Then he lost to Joaquim Silva and Fiera in 2018, and then we go back to 2017 when he made his debut and looked pretty good against Michael. Well, he knocked out Quinones and then beat Diaz. So he started off hot, then kind of fell off a little bit. Man, I think, like I said, this should definitely be a pick 'em. I think anybody can take this one, but I'm gonna go with Chris Fishgold. I have a feeling he's gonna get some type of submission. I could be wrong on this one. This one's honestly one of the tougher ones to predict because I think they're both pretty evenly matched. But I'm gonna take Chris Fishgold to get the sub. I'm gonna go with the second round sub. All right. Next, we got the minus 265 Modestas Bukakas versus the plus 225 Andreas Mikiladis. So, all right. They both got very similar records, man. And they're both making their debut, their UFC debut. And so I watched a couple fights, and honestly, man, what I took from both fighters in previous organizations, they both look pretty good. I think they're both going to try to stand up and bang. I think if this does get finished, it could be TKO, if not a submission. If the submission happens, I'm leaning towards Modestus, which is also the favorite. So I'm going to make it easy, man. I'm going for the minus 265 favorite.
Modestus Bakaskas. Yeah, Modestus Bakaskas.
To get the finish over Andreas. All right. All right. Next, we got a good one, man. This is the one I was talking about. Probably my favorite favorite fight off the prelims. We got the minus 175 Ricardo Ramos versus Lerone Murphy. Man, this is going to be a good one. I really think this one's going to be a fun fight. Very similar statures, obviously both 145, 5'8". Murphy with a slight reach advantage, 73.5 to Ramos's 72. Now Ramos definitely has the experience, the UFC experience. Murphy made his debut and it was a draw, but he looked pretty good. And I've watched a few of his fights in previous organizations. He looks solid, but Ramos has been in the UFC since 2017, and he's fought some good opponents and looked really good as well. Gagori, he submitted his last fight, also beat Journey Newson right before that, and lost by KO to Sad Nurmagomedov, which is a Nurmagomedov brother. Hey, man, it is what it is. That's not a bad one. But, man, he's fought some really good opponents, and he looks good. So I think he's going to be slightly quicker. I think Murphy's going to have more power, but I think Ramos is going to be the more technical, quicker fighter, and I think he can point him. Now, Murphy got that power, and he can drop him. I can see that going down, but I'm going to have to go with the experience. And here's the thing. I like this Murphy kid. When he made his debut, I took him to get the win, which was a draw, but I took him to get the win because I liked his style of fighting. And I think he could be a prospect. If he gets this win, I definitely think he has a shot to be a prospect, and I think he's going to make a run. But Ricardo Ramos, man, I think he's a little bit too experienced and technical, and I think he's going to know how to handle Murphy. So I'm going to take Ricardo Ramos to get it done. And he's the minus 175 favorite. All right. After that, we got John Phillips, the plus 150 favorite, against a late opponent switch, because originally it was supposed to be Dusko Todorovic, I believe is how it's pronounced. But right now we have it Khamzat Chimaev. Man, some of these names are tough to pronounce, man. A lot of them are obviously from overseas. That's why we're fighting in Fight Island. So forgive me for those. But John Phillips, man, he's a tough dude. He's been in the UFC for a bit. He's had some cool, good brawls, fun to watch. But I don't think he's like the most technical fighter. He comes in there swinging, and he's down with trying to get knockouts. And this Chimaev guy, he's definitely a wrestler, grappler. I think he's going to try to have a lot of almost like the Usman style, push against the fence. Obviously not as dominant as Usman. So I think Phillips has a shot. But I'm going to take the wrestler, Chimaev, to get it done. I think Chimaev. I think he's going to get it done, most likely by decision. So I'm going to go with him. And so that's the prelims, and now we're going into the main card. This is where it gets a little bit better. So to start off, the main card, we got the minus 300 Abdul Razak Alhassan versus Moner Laziz. Man, and so this one's going to be a good one. The guy that he's had a delay. He had an issue. He's been out for a little bit. He was falsely accused of, I don't want to get too deep into it, but some type of assault. So he was accused of that. It was overturned, so now he's finally back in. But his last fight, man, he is a killer. His last fight, he took on Nico Price, KO'd him. Before that, he had another KO over Hamasi in the first round. Man, this guy is just a brutal killer. And Laziz, I mean, I'm not telling you to sleep on him. He's making his debut, but I did watch some footage on him. He's a big guy, man, and I can see him trying to wrestle. But he's a snipe. They call him the sniper. That's his nickname, and he's gonna sit back and try to literally do what his name says. That's what it looked like on some tape I watched. But man, I think if this layoff doesn't hurt Abdul Alassan, I think he's gonna come in there and get another KO. So I'm gonna take Abdul Alassan to get it done pretty early against Laziz, probably the first or second round. I'm gonna go with first round KO. All right, next we got a fun one. We got -115 Molly McCann versus Talia Santos, the -115. They're both 115. This one's a pick 'em, and it really should be, but I'm leaning towards Molly McCann. She's a tough fighter. I talked about her earlier. Because she beat, I believe it was Debita, and man, she's tough. She's a fun fighter. I think she's gonna get it done over Santos. Now Santos, don't get me wrong, she has her path to victory and she can get it done, but she has one fight and it was a loss to, I think, Borrella. Let me double check on that one. And yeah, Borrella, which we just saw fight recently. She lost a decision to Borrella, and Borrella's nothing really sticks out too much. I don't think she's too dominant, and to take that loss, it's like going against Molly McCann, which has already fought better opponents, has looked better, and people are actually watching out for Molly McCann. I think she's going to get it done. Her last fight, let's see. So Molly McCann made her debut. She got a decision win, and then she fought Lipsky and got another decision, and then Belbita that we talked about, Molly McCann beat her by decision. So Molly McCann's a decision fighter, but she's pretty dominant in that when she gets it done. So I'm going to take Molly McCann over Talia Santos, and I'm going to go by, let's keep it rolling, another decision, but I think it's going to be pretty unanimous for Molly McCann. After that, okay, this one definitely should be the co-main event, but it's not. We got the -145 Jimmy Rivera versus Cody Stamann, the +125. We just watched Cody Stamann fight just recently, and he looked pretty dang good. He used his wrestling the whole fight against Kelleher, and he got the decision win. I like him a lot. He's they call him the Spartan. He is strong. He's a good wrestler. He's dominant. He's mostly a decision type fighter. Before this last fight in 2019, he fought Alejandro Perez and beat him by decision as well. And then a draw with Song Yadong, which Song Yadong is, man, he's a stud. So, but we got Jimmy Rivera. Guys, this guy, he's a beast. He's just an all-around great fighter. Been in the UFC since 2015 and fighting great competition. His last fight, he took on Peter Yan, lost by decision, and then he fought Aljamain Sterling and lost by another decision. That was all of 2019, and before that, he got a win over John Dotson, and then lost to Marlon Moraes. So he is fighting the best of the best at the featherweight division. So man, you can't hold too much against him for those losses. Cody Stamann's a little bit younger, not much, so you can't go on age, but he's on his rise right now. And Jimmy Rivera, don't get me wrong, if he gets it done, I think he can either piece up Cody Stamann or stick with his, hold him up on that wrestling and just outpoint him and get the job done. I think if Jimmy Rivera wins, it's actually by submission, in my opinion. But I'm going to take the underdog. I'm going to take Cody Stamann to get it done. I think he's going to wrestle him, use his strength, and do what he did against Kelleher, basically, even though it's a better opponent with Jimmy Rivera. But I'm going to take Cody Stamann to get it done. We're going to go with decision, and I think he's going to have quite a few takedowns. So that's a good one to look at for DraftKings, especially because he is the underdog. So I like that one. Next, we got the co-main event, the minus 125, Tim Elliott versus Ryan Benoit, the plus 100 underdog. So this is the co-main event. I don't think it should be. The reason it is in my opinion, is because it's probably going to be a brawl. It's going to probably be finished. I'm leaning right now. I'm going to tell you, I'm leaning towards Tim Elliott by decision. By submission or decision. But I think one of these guys can go to sleep. This can be a really good fight. I think it's going to be a banger. And I think the Stamen and Rivera fight's going to most likely be a pretty close fight, but go down to decision. So maybe that's what made them throw Tim Elliott up to the co-main, because he's a wild fighter, man. And I think he's going to probably get it done over Ryan Benoit. I think Tim Elliott looked good when he came out his last fight. He got stopped by Brandon Roval by submission, but the first round, I think Elliott won. He was looking good. And Roval, man, he's going to be a good prospect, I think. So I'm going to go with Tim Elliott to get it done over Ryan Benoit. And I think it's going to be by submission in the second or third. Ryan Benoit, he's a tough fighter, but he's just not the most technical. I mean, he has a knockout over back 2 years ago, Ashkan Mukatine. Well, that was actually in 2017. And then in 2019, he lost to Alating. So, man, I don't know, man. I'm going to go with Tim Elliott. He's a wild dude, but he's actually more technical than Ryan Benoit, in my opinion, and I think he's going to come in there. And, I think he's going to do what he did at the first round against Royval, except keep it going against Benoit and actually get the finish. So I'm taking the favorite, Tim Elliott. All right, next we got the main event. This one's actually going to be a banger. I like this one a lot. We got the minus 280 favorite, Calvin Kattar or Kattar, however you want to say it, versus Dan Ige, the plus 225. All right, man. So both these guys are coming off good wins. Kattar a little bit older, 32. Dan Ige, 28. Dan Ige's more of the wrestler. And try to control you. He has some good punchings. You can't sleep on that. But Calvin Kattar, he's the one that's going to try to stop you with his fist or elbows, like he did Jeremy Stevens. That was his last fight. And, man, he's been looking good. He's on his run right now. And this is the next opponent to get it's the next stepping stone. And I don't think he's a stepping stone. I don't think he's going to be an easy fight. He's been getting it done. He's actually on a run too, which is Dan Ige. But I like Calvin Kattar. I think he's been fighting good fighters like Ricardo Lamas, Magomed Sharapov, Jeremy Stevens. He's fighting some good opponents. And so is Dan Ige. Don't get me wrong. But I think maybe I'm leaning towards the stand-up fighter, because I just like that style a little more. But, man, he's also a killer, and I've been high on him for a while. And Dan Ige, in my opinion, I think he lost to Edson Barbosa back in May. So and before that, he beat Bektik, which is a good win for him. And then let's jump back to 2019. Check it out. He fought Kevin Aguilar, beat him by decision, and submitted Danny Henry. All right, man, he has some good wins, but I just don't think he's going to be able to get it done versus Kattar. I think Kattar's actually going to stop him and finish him late. Danny Gay's a tough dude, so I don't think he's, this might go to decision, but I think it's going to last late, 4th or 5th round, TKO by Calvin Kattar. That's who I'm taking in the main event. I think this is going to be a fun fight. Pretty good card, and it's a Wednesday card, man, so it's just a bonus card. I'm actually going to be making another video either later tonight or tomorrow morning and dropping it for the weekend fight, which is going to be, I think, a bit better of an overall card, but it's going to be fun either way, man. So these are my predictions for UFC Fight Night 172, Kattar versus Ige. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Comment, let me know who y'all got in the main event or the main card, and man, like and subscribe. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Thanks.